I want to make a 2-hour video. I'm not going to do that with $11 for 4 seconds, right? It's going to happen at maybe like cents per second, maybe less than that. So how do we balance that cost? This is where avatar models can succeed, right? So
Mhm.
getting that realism there, getting really good long form video there, right? Getting quality there, getting cost as low as possible because, these models are going to be used a lot more and for longer form stuff. So these are the pieces where we can engineer our model to be optimizing for that as opposed to optimizing for generating everything, right? Or generating movie quality stuff or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we can win.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MTS. Today, I'm joined by Gaurav Misra, the co founder and CEO of Mirage, the company formerly known as Captions, which grew from an AI video editing app to now a full blown AI research lab. There's 20 million people have used their products, and they make over 250 million videos and raised another 75 million this spring from General Catalyst. And today, I'm super excited to talk more about what Mirage is building and the different economics behind AI video and what actually happens when content can be generated by anyone and create anything. So, Gaurav, welcome. So excited to have you here. Super excited. I wanted to start off talking a little bit about the pivot. You started off building out Captions, and this was a very successful creator app. And now you have Mirage, which is this whole AI lab that's training proprietary video models. Can you talk us through that decision? How did that end up happening?
Yeah, I mean, so it's been like a pretty, gradual transition for us actually over the years. When we started the company, the first 2 years of the company, we were actually just finding product market fit. This
Mhm.
was like a little bit like pre-AI era, essentially, right? And then the last 3.5 years is where, we found our product, which was Captions. We found our space that we wanted to work on, and we really like took off. But from the beginning, there was like, okay, how do we use AI to make video creation easier? And the first idea was like, okay, maybe we can use, speech to text, which
Yeah.
is, that's the early ages of AI that was really good, right? Is stuff like speech to text. And let's add captions on videos. Like, let's start with that.
Mhm.
And like, obviously that, that worked out. And then from there, it's like, okay, what else can we do? And at the beginning, our imagination was as far as like, okay, maybe we'll make like production tasks easier. We're gonna like, do lip dubbing and like, dubbing and translation and that type of stuff. But then as AI kept getting better and better, it sort of became inevitable that you're going to be able to do a lot. And I
Yeah.
think the funny part is like a lot of people think, oh, okay, like, there's so many models now. There's, the realism is so good. We've solved AI video. I actually think we've not even begun to scratch the surface yet. Like the wave is going to start like practically now-ish, somewhere in the next couple of months. Like this is where the real wave actually begins. And I can get into why, but
Okay.
that's been the
Interesting. So this is where the actual wave begins. So you saying that people haven't even touched the surface when it comes to AI video creation. And I'm
not
curious why you think the race for AI video hasn't even begun.
So I think it's as clear as this. Like think about coding as a
Mhm.
good parallel, right? Like coding, if you go back even a single year, right? There were most people thought, okay, yeah, like it's good for like tab completion and like that type of stuff, but like generating all of your code base, like only vibe coders do that, right? Like
Yeah.
a real engineer can do that, right? And how that's changed, like it is completely transformed. And like the workflow of an engineer today is night and day,
Yeah.
right? Night and day from 1 year ago, right? Like think about the fact that we're going to tell the next generation, like we're going to tell our kids someday that, oh, back in the day, we used to code by hand, right?
Wow,
And
so
they're going to be like,
ancient.
what? And they're like, what? That's crazy. Like, how did you do that? Right? I can't believe it. Right. And so that's how big of a change has happened in 1 year. Right. I think if you think about video, think about like scrolling TikTok, right?
Mhm.
Think about watching YouTube. How many videos are made with AI, right? Like if you see something, even like let's say you see a cool video, like do you feel like we can recreate that with AI? Absolutely not
Yeah.
for vast majority of it, right? Can we make some cool stuff with AI today? Yes, but the reality is that traditional software still works better for video today, right? That's why I think the race hasn't actually started. When it actually begins, everybody, whether you're a professional or an amateur or no matter market or whatever it is that you're doing and whatever reason you're creating video for, you're going to naturally just, it's going to be the obvious choice. Of course, you're going to make it with AI. What else would you do? Just like with coding, right? Like it's completely transformed. That's exactly what's going to happen. But it hasn't started yet. It's just going to start now, I think.
No, you're totally right. Because when you look at the typical AI video generation models, it's taking a prompt into pixels, right? Can you prompt something and make it look really good? But as you just mentioned, that's not the process that people actually use to create video. If you see your TikTok, if you see what people are scrolling, there's a script, there's this whole assembly process that goes into the footage, the scripting, the narrative, the editing, the captions, the after effects. And that's exactly what you guys are working on, this term I think you coined, assembly intelligence, that is the whole stack. So, what does that actually look like?
Think I'll first touch really quick on why we arrived at this
Yeah.
conclusion. And I think video generation is important, and I think video generation is a part of creating video ultimately, right? But if you think about video generation as a concept, it actually isn't, like, these models aren't creative in themselves. Like all the creativity is provided by the person in the prompt, right? Like you can make bad videos with video generation, you can make good videos with video generation too. That means that the creativity is coming from people, right?
Hmm.
These models are not creative in themselves, right? And there's no intelligence in them either, right? We call them our AI, but like really the intelligence is either coming from an LLM or from a human, right? It's not really inherent in these models themselves. So that's kind of how we know that really, like, the front, like, this is okay, it's changing a craft. Maybe that's true, but it's really not changing the overall shape of how videos are created. And that's only going to happen when intelligence is brought into, and the intelligent, creative, sort of autonomous system, that actually can have good ideas on its own, which I think, LLMs are getting there to be able to do things like that. And that's why we think about this assembly intelligence, right? I actually give this example where there's a Netflix movie or documentary. Maybe you've seen it, maybe not. It's like kind of sad, but essentially it's like a whole movie made with just body cam footage. Like
Mm.
it's police body cam footage cut, right, and spliced together, and there's no voiceovers, there's no interviews, there's nothing,
Hmm.
just that, right? And it tells such a compelling story just with editing things together, right? There's no generated content, there's no recorded content, like nothing was recorded on purpose, everything was sort of like, taken and assembled, right?
Yeah.
And that is intelligence, that is
Yeah.
creativity, right? And we haven't even scratched the surface of that, right? And that's where kind of we want to venture, that's where we want to go. I think that's where the final frontier actually is.
So that's where the final frontier actually is. I'm curious what that actually looks like for the creator. What part are they still empowered? Where do they have to have more creativity? And what will never get replaced?
So great questions. And this is the exact type of stuff that we spend all day and night thinking about, to be
Yeah.
honest, right? And it's so difficult to know the answers,
Mm.
but I think we have a good idea of what it could be. So I think over time, pretty much everything that you do in the process of creating a video, it'll be easier to do it through an agent or like a chat interface, essentially. Like you're going to tell something like, hey, like this is my idea. I want to put it together this way. Can you bring all the pieces together and make it happen? Right. You get a first draft and maybe it's not perfect, probably not. Right. And you're giving feedback, you're evolving it. A lot of it is just editing, splicing, putting things together in different ways, right? Like adding motion graphics, doing sort of like post production on top of it, changing colors, all that stuff, but doing it through prompts, right? And then if all of that is happening through AI, you raise the right question, like what are people doing and what's the role, right? I think the reality is like every job is going to be affected in this way,
Yeah.
right? Like I think I realized that at some point when I saw how aggressive the coding sort of transformation was, is that nothing is going to be not affected, right?
Hmm.
Everything that is like knowledge work will be affected in some way, and probably in a pretty aggressive way. But ultimately, like for people, the good thing is even with AI, doing so much, the world revolves around people. The world doesn't revolve around AI, right?
Hmm.
AI revolves around people maybe more than anything else, right? And ultimately, the world is driven by the wants and needs of people, right? And that means that those people who can do well in predicting the wants and needs of people and serving them, whether that through AI or not, are going to be the ones that succeed in the future. And by the way, that's the exact same thing that's true today, right? No matter what job you are, whether you're a marketer, whether you're an engineer, designer, whatever you do, right? you need to be able to predict the wants and needs of people, right? And I think that's going to be more true than ever in the future.
Definitely. And even the bar for actually being able to produce these videos are lower. So if you're someone with
Mhm.
really good taste or really good intention, but you don't have a Hollywood level budget to produce these videos, you can now leverage AI to get your vision out in the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. And even amongst that Hollywood question, I had this quote you said from back in early 2025. You said video generation could hit Hollywood quality within about 18 months. So we're almost there. We're almost 18 months from when you said that. Where do you think we actually are compared to where we were then?
I think looking at some of the most recent results from like models like CDAN's 4K, for example,
Mm,
I think we're practically already there.
mm,
Maybe, you know, the consumer versions of some of these models are not, they're nerfed a little bit because they're trying to balance like speed and cost and quality. But the true versions like CDance 4K is like super expensive. We were just playing around with it. It's like $11 for 4 seconds of video.
yep.
It's like crazy.
Yeah.
But the quality is unbelievable, right? Like it is absolutely looks real, right? So I think we've already practically gotten there. Whether it's being utilized completely, maybe not true today, and maybe that takes another 18 months or something like that. But it's pretty crazy that it progressed so quickly.
Oh my gosh. No, you're so right. Some of these models are fully $11. You said $11 for 4 seconds of video. And I'm curious what the actual economics looks like for you guys because AI video inference is insanely expensive and you guys already have 20 million users. So that's a lot of GPU. So I'm curious, what does the actual unit economics look like for Mirage?
Yeah, I mean, so that's the interesting part with us because we kind of split video generation into two pieces, right? So
Mm,
there's obviously the cinematic video generation, which there's a number of different models for, which are priced at market, and people use those as needed. I think they're not needed everywhere, but they're needed sometimes. And then there's sort of like everyday video, which a lot of it ends up being talking head type video, which we specialize in that. That's like the avatar video is what that's called, right? Now, I think avatar models survive really well in a world where there's generalized models as well, like CDance and VO and so on and so forth, because avatar models can balance cost really well, right? So
mhm.
you can get extremely good realism. You can get long formats. Like I want to make a 2 hour video, right? I'm not going to do that with $11 for 4 seconds, right? It's going to happen at like maybe like cents per
Yep.
second, right? Maybe less than that, right? So how do we balance that cost? This is where avatar models can succeed, right? So
Mm,
getting that realism there, getting really good long form video there, right? Getting quality there, getting cost as low as possible because these models are going to be used a lot more and for longer form stuff. So these are the pieces where we can engineer our model to be optimizing for that as opposed to optimizing for generating everything, right? Or generating movie quality stuff or something like that, right?
yep.
So that's kind of where we can win.
Super fascinating. And one last question I had for you. So, before all of this, you actually came from Snap. You did design
Yeah.
engineering there. And so, you probably know a lot about the whole consumer ecosystem and creator economy. And so, I'm curious, what does the future actually look like as more people start to become creators and generate videos on their own? How does that actually change the creator economy?
I think it's going to be bigger than ever, right? Like I think like it's maybe surprising, but more and more people are going to move to becoming creators. More and more people are going to move into the creator economy just because I think ultimately people want to connect with people. And this, like, what's funny? Like, the creator economy is the metaverse in a
Hmm.
strange way. Like, I think, Meta and Mark Zuckerberg have been trying to create the metaverse for so long. And, they wanted it to be this like 3D avatar thing. But really, Instagram is already the metaverse. We're all online with our avatars, which is just like us, right? And we're posting things, other people are watching it, we're communicating. Like, if this is not the metaverse, I don't know what is, right? It's already happening and it's super popular. I think it's going to only grow because it like, is great at connecting people. And I think with AI taking more people will be empowered to create, more people will be
Hmm.
empowered to get stuff out there. And it'll be simple to do it. It's just going to need your own creativity.
Yeah, more people will be empowered to create. I love what you said. Well, Gaurav, I wanted to thank you for joining us today and sharing more about what you guys are building with Mirage. It's really incredible to see all the growth and how it's going to impact the future of the creator economy and future of video creation as a whole. So, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
MTS is an ex-native live streaming news and interview show covering technology, business, politics, and culture as it happens. Catch us every weekday live on X, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Scale your startup on Neon, the Postgres backend for apps and agents built by Databricks. Neon.com/MTS.
11 Labs, AI that communicates at human level across every channel and modality. 11labs.io/MTS.
Special thanks to our sponsor Kong. Kong, the AI connectivity platform. Connect APIs, LLMs, agents, and systems with serious security and governance. Try it at konghq.com. Thanks to Blitzy, autonomous software development for enterprise codebases. Ship 5 times faster at blitzy.com.
Let me tell you about Merge. OpenAI, Dropbox, and Ramp use Merge to get AI to production faster. Merge.dev/MTS. Quick word from AdQuick. Make your brand a billboard. Out-of-home advertising as easy to scale as digital. AdQuick.com.
Thanks to our sponsor, Macroscope, AI codebase understanding for engineering leaders. Try it out at macroscope.com/MTS.